Hi, welcome back to the channel. So recently I've done a few videos about the Merlin RIDE ACCESS PASS. Oh, that looks like a halo, doesn't it? And I thought what I'd do is, as I've done a general guide on how to use it at Thorpe Park, today I've got a little bit of spare time, so I'm actually going to head to Chessington and do that. So there's, I believe there's about 40 rides altogether, or 37, between 37 and 40 rides, I can't remember off the top of my head. So we're going to go to each one, have a look where the entrances are, have a look at the restrictions and what you need to know before you go on there. And yeah, so hopefully this will be a bit helpful when you're booking your trip to Chessington. You'll know where everything is, or you'll have an idea where everything is, how to use the wrap, which I'll do now. I'll run through, I've already booked my RIDE ACCESS Pass online, so what I'll show you how to do is how to transfer that into the app. And yeah, so we'll do that now, and then we'll head off to Chessington. When you book your RIDE ACCESS Pass, it's actually tied to your email address. So what you will need to do is create yourself a Chessington World of Adventures account. It works the same with Legoland as well. So you create your account within the app and log in. So we'll go into the app now. I'm already logged in and I am on the My Visits tab at the bottom there. So if I go to Reserve and Ride, you can see it's just there. So the Reserve and Ride is just there under the RIDE ACCESS. So on RIDE ACCESS, it says RIDE ACCESS Pass available now. If I tap that, I can hit redeem. And now I'm ready to start my adventure. So I'm going to hop in the car now and head over to Chessington. So when you arrive at Chessington, it's actually pretty good getting in. It wasn't too busy, but there's lots of security to go through. It makes it very easy to get through. Alright, so I'm just going to do a reserve and ride. Mandrill Mayhem. It's 45 minutes. So reserve now. My reservation is ready, so I can go straight to the queue. Here you are. So once you've been through the ride, afterwards you'll notice that the timer is greyed out, so you can't actually select another ride until that time is counted down. As soon as it's counted down, it'll be available again. So there is actually a RIDE ACCESS Pass hub just outside of Adventure Point. They do tell you that it is all online, but they can give you a hand if you're stuck. So you won't be able to actually go in and get a RIDE ACCESS Pass reservation, but they can help you load into the app, etc, etc. This, as I say, this is just outside Adventure Point. So the first ride is Tiger Rock. So obviously this is a water ride, so there is a possibility that you're going to get wet on this one. The accessibility queue is just over from the normal queue line. So on this one, there isn't actually any access prerequisites. I was a bit surprised about that. I did have a look, but there just wasn't. So the next one is Kobra. This one's good fun. So the accessibility queue is just on the right hand side here. So you need to be able to brace yourself against the forces of the ride on this one, and you need to be able to obviously transfer into your seat. So next up we've got Monkey Swingers. So this one again, you will get wet. There are like sort of sprays spraying up as you spin around. You go through like the water jets. So this one, you have to be able to brace yourselves against the force of the ride and use the, well, it's called the disabled queue line here, but the accessibility queue line. So next up is Tuk Tuk Turmoil. These are basically bumper cars. So again, you need to be able to brace yourself against the force of the ride, and you need to be able to transfer into the car. And for access, you use the accessibility queue. So next up is the Jungle Bus. So for this one, you enter via the ride exit. You must be able to sit up in the seat, and you must be able to brace yourself and hold on to the handrails or lap bar. Now we've got Dragon's Fury. Now this unfortunately went down after about 10 minutes of me being in the park, so I didn't get a chance to go on there today. So there's not actually any prerequisites for this one either. I imagine you must be able to brace yourself, and it basically says use the dedicated queue line, which is just around here. So at the entrance, you turn right, and basically follow the perimeter of the ride round, and you'll see the accessibility queue there. Next up we've got Sea Dragons. So for this one, you just enter via the exit. Then we've got Jungle Rangers. So I don't know if this is a newer one, but this has actually got an up-to-date board. So it has an accessibility section at the bottom. So this is basically saying use the exit for entrance, and you must be able to transfer yourself into the ride yourself. Next up we've got Treetop Hoppers. So again, this has an accessibility section. So this one says enter via the exit. Everyone is able to use this, so ambulant and non-ambulant, but it does say if you have any cast or brace on your leg, it can't go above your knee. So I think it's because you need to bend your leg at the knee. So the entrance for this one, you basically follow the perimeter round to the left. And then you head down the exit. Next is the river rafts. Again, for the river rafts, there was no information on the boards like Tiger Rock, so I don't believe there's any prerequisites. So next up we've got Rattle Snake. This is like a crazy mouse. So for this one, you just enter via the exit. Again, I believe you'd have to brace yourself against the force of the rides. I assume that's going to be the same for every ride, but it doesn't actually say that. So the entrance for this, at the main entrance, turn right and follow the perimeter of the ride round, and you'll come to this small gate here. Next we've got Tree Carousel. So this is the carousel right in the middle of Adventure Point, right in the heart of the park. It's quite a nice family one. So for this one, you just need to enter via the exit. Next we've got Seastorm. I did see some green faces on this one. So for Seastorm, there is a dedicated queue line on the right hand side. So for this one, riders can't have a cast above the knee on their legs or their arms in cast at all. I believe this is for holding on. Wheelchair users must be able to transfer into the seats unaided. You must be able to hold yourself upright and be able to hold on to the handrails while the ride is in motion. Next up we've got Barrell Bailout. This was actually closed when I had a look. This one has its own dedicated entrance. So for this one, any prosthetic limbs must be secured or removed. You must be able to brace yourself during the ride. Any prosthetic limbs must be secured. You are to use the disabled or access queue line, and any electric vehicles aren't permitted within the rides. Next is Blue Barnicle. I'm sure this was called the Mary Rose when I was a kid, and my dad used to say at the last ride they'd try and take it over the top. For this one, you enter via the dedicated queue line, and you must be able to brace yourself while on the ride, and you must be able to transfer yourself unaided into the ride. So for this one, I was a little bit unsure where the queue line actually was, and then I've come to find out that it is actually at the exit. So the exit is right around the bottom of the ride, so we'll take a walk round to show you where it is. When you head round from the entrance, do make sure you go right, not left. If you go right, it is a smooth path round. If you turn left, there are stairs and steps to navigate. It is quite a way around, but unlike Thorpe Park, there isn't any sort of serious items in the way, such as benches, and nothing's been sort of set up in the path. See, I nearly missed it there myself. And there we go. So that is the entrance you want to look for. So next we have Trawler Trouble. So the entrance is just to the left of the statue. For this one you must be able to transfer yourself into the ride unaided, brace yourselves against the force of the ride, be able to hold onto the handlebar and lap bar and sit up during the ride. Unfortunately, if you have your hand in a cast, or if you have your arm in a cast and your hand is part of that, you unfortunately aren't able to ride this. I believe that's because you need to be able to hold on. So next up we've got everyone's favourite, the Vampire. Now here's the main entrance. I've got a couple of questions about this. So on the board it says, for disabled access, please use the disabled entrance located in, and that's it. Now I've got a bit of a problem with that, and I'll show you why. So I turned around and from the main entrance, and I did see this queue line, and I think this is the original entrance. So this is actually the reserve and ride entrance. So I believe you can use that entrance. Now it does say, for disabled access, please use the entrance via the Trail of the Kings. I couldn't find it. Now I've popped up to the shop to see if the Trail of the Kings was up there, and it says no ride access this way. It's a bit of an issue. And I couldn't find it. I just could not find it. So I would say use the reserve and ride entrance, but the problem with that is there's steps. So come on, Chessington, sort yourselves out with this one. It's absolutely ridiculous. It should be marked up properly. Right, next up after that one is the Gruffalo. For this one it's a bit more complicated. If you're under 1.1 meters high, you're able to ride it if you're non-ambulant. It does say there that in the case of an emergency, your carer must be able to carry you when exiting. That's quite a complicated one. So I'm not sure if that means if you are over 1.1 meters and non-ambulant, you can't ride it. Again, I do think these signs need updating. Next up we've got Griffin's Galleon. So for this one it just says use the exit for entrance. And there we go, and there's the ride exit. It's just on the other side of the actual ride. So next up we've got Mandrill Mayhem heading into World of Jumanji, one of the newer rides. The queue line here are very simple. You just stick to the left as you're going in. It's marked up nicely. Now for this one, unfortunately, non-ambulant riders are not permitted. It says it's not suitable. It also says anyone with an amputated limb may need to wear an additional harness, so do ask when in the queue line about that. Next up we've got Mamba Strikes. There is a dedicated wrap queue next to the regular queue. So it says here you must be able to get yourself in the seat without assistance from a carer, you must be able to brace yourself throughout the entire ride, and you must have 3 full limbs to be able to ride the ride. It doesn't say here if prosthetic limbs count towards that number, but you'd have to inquire when you get to the ride. Next up we've got Pstrich Stampede. There is a dedicated access queue line next to the regular line there. So it does say that if you do have a cast on any of your limbs, you are unable to ride the ride. You must be able to hold yourself up in your seats and be able to brace yourselves against the force of the ride. If you're non-ambulant, you must go on with a minimum of 1 carer to assist with loading and unloading into the ride. This one just makes me feel sick, if I'm honest. So next up we've got Tomb Blaster. This is a dark ride, so this isn't suitable if you have epilepsy or are sensitive to strobe lighting. So it's loud, lasers, smoke effects, there's quite a lot going on in there. It's definitely worth considering that if you're sensitive to any of those. So to enter, you go into the ride exit again. Next we've got Croc Drop. So it's the entrance to Croc Drop. To get to the access queue, you walk left from here around the perimeter of the ride, and you're greeted here with the entrance. So there's all your standard warnings here, but in the accessibility section, the addition are, you must be able to transfer yourself into the seat on the ride, and you can have assistance from a companion or carer. You must enter using the dedicated accessibility or disabled queue. I did notice that they do use mist here. If you're sensitive to anything like that, any sensory sensitivities, it's definitely worth taking that into consideration. So next we've got the Flying Jumbos. So for the Flying Jumbos, the wheelchair users must be able to transfer from their chair into a seat, and you must enter using the dedicated queue line. Next we've got Tiny Truckers. And for Tiny Truckers, it just says basically please join the disabled queue. So I'm not sure what the score is with the Scorpion Express, but it's all cordoned off. So that's it for Chessington World of Adventures. So there are some other playgrounds, etc., different climbing frames and things like that. I haven't included those, so I've only done the rides. And I hope this has been of some help when you're planning your trip. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, do all those things. If it's been helpful, give us a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. If there's any other parks that you'd like me to go to, or you'd like to see something like this about, drop me a comment and let me know which one. Alright, well thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.